Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Spectrum Podcast. It's TG, and welcome back, my co-host James. James, how have you
It's,
been?
I've been great. It's been so nice to finally see you guys again. Anyway, it's been hectic, God, but I've kept up. I've stayed up. You know, your sports analyst is back at it. We're ready. I'm ready to get started. I'm ready to just dive right in.
Yep. And if you guys haven't noticed, check out the new setup. Like
Ah,
I told you guys on the OHL podcast on Wednesday last week. I said when you guys come onto the broadcast, you're gonna see a whole new version of the Spectrum podcast, a whole new set of setups. So I hope you guys are enjoying it.
I like it. I like it. This is dope.
Oh, y'all should. After all, I'm working on this. I really have been. I'm telling you guys, like I had spent days working on it, and I had it set up ready, and I had to make sure I had everything put ahead. So once I did that, it was pretty much just going by odds. If you guys don't know, uh, this show is brought to you by the OHI podcast, where you guys can find me as a member of the Roundtable, where we do shows every day. Well, I should say every Sunday to Thursday we do those shows, and you guys will be able to catch the roundtable tonight because they will be talking about the total number of wins for Ohio State going into 2026. So, like, they will be predicting the win total. But this involves Ohio State is the 2014 playoffs. And we're going to talk about is this good for college football? Now, James, I want you to give your opinion on it because I've talked about it over on the OHL podcast. I want to hear what you think.
So I think we kind of hitched on it before of like 24 playoff teams because for the men's and women's basketball team they've just got extended. I think there's like 74 or I forgot. I think it's 74. It's they extended theirs. Here's what I'm gonna say. When we came to the 12, when we said we're gonna extend the NCAA college football playoffs to 12 teams, and then teams still were like, well, we still have, we had a pretty good season. I think we deserve to have a playoff spot, against those top tier D1 teams. I think 24 teams takes away from first, I think, bowl appearances. I feel like having a 24 playoff contention, I think that's too much, truly. Now, I don't want to take away from any teams that have had incredible seasons and we're like, you guys deserve to be in the playoffs. And I get that. Or the teams that started off really, really bad and then had a really strong ending and they're like, oh, they deserve a playoff spot. But if you look at the teams that have consistently been the best teams in college football from the season, from when the season started to the season ending, I think you take away first from the concept of why exactly we do the playoffs in the first place. I don't think it's meant for every single team to be in the playoffs. It's not meant for every single team to get a look in the playoffs. I think you take the best of the 12 teams that you guys have and that's how we do this. Having 24 teams from different divisions because they're not all going to be Division 1. You're going to have to probably look at some teams from certain divisions that we haven't really looked at this season or from last season and say to yourself, is like, okay, we got to put them in. We get to give them a shot. Now, are they going to get blown out by a top 4 team? Probably. But hey, at least they got a shot. At least they got put into the playoffs to get a shot. And that's giving them that little juice to get other kids to want to come to their school maybe, or maybe they can boost themselves up and go to a different D1 division. But why? Why are we doing that? Why are you putting those teams in those situations when we can keep it how it is? I think it can be good if you do it the right way. I think this can also turn into a really bad spot when you start putting teams in just because of maybe they knocked off one good high team and you're like, okay, well, they deserve a playoff spot. Okay, now wait a minute. I don't think that that's how we should do this. I don't think that that's how this should go. So to be honest with you, I think 2014 is a little bit too much. Only because I maybe 16. If we're gonna go a little bit higher, let's kind of keep it in that 16 region. We don't need 24. We don't need to hit Kobe numbers. There's too many teams, too long of playoffs, and I think that just takes away from the bowl games of perspective. Because the whole point of the bowl games is to acknowledge those really good teams that have had really good seasons, and we say, hey, we're going to give you this Pop Tart bowl game, and you get to show your talents there, and we'll see how that goes. Then making it where you get a chance to fight for the national championship at the end of the year. I don't think so. I think that takes away from some stuff. What do you think? Maybe I'm missing something.
No, you're not wrong. As a matter of fact, we talked about this myself, Eric, Sean, Alex has talked about it over there as well. We've all said this. Like 2014 playoff is not good for college football at all. Like we know who's been pushing for it. It's been the Big 12, the ACC, and the Big 10. The SEC's commissioner, Greg Sankey, is the only one really saying we ain't doing that. Now, whether the reasons are valid or not is one thing, but it's something that everybody agrees with that there shouldn't be. Like, I think the maximum should be 16 teams. This 2014 playoff is really just a power grab kind of thing, is how I look at it. And I honestly think it's the dumbest idea in history because, look, I get it. In the Power Four, we have 80 teams. We do. We have 80 teams in the Power Four. I think the only reason that this 2014 playoff even got talked about was obviously because ESPN holds the rights to the entire playoffs and to the entire CFB. So they, playoff, I should say, to the playoff committee. So, yeah, I can understand people wanting to take that away from them. But also because we have the G6 involved. And I think that's the biggest problem. And there has been discussion among others saying that we believe that we believe that the G6 should have their own playoffs. They need to have their own playoffs, their own national title to go to, and just leave the Power Four to the college football playoffs. And given this entire power grabbing scenario, it's really showing that when it comes down to it, these commissioners, like they keep talking about they want, a commissioner or somebody over the sport. They really don't, is what this shows me, is like what the 2014 playoff shows me is they don't think in the best interest of college football. They're thinking about what's in the best interest of themselves, which is why college football needs one governing body and a commissioner and a president that does not care about these people's feelings. They would do what's in the best interest of college football regarding generating money, but also keeping the sport intact without making it feel meaningless. Again, I'm going to go on the record and agree with ESPN and Greg Sankey, and I hate those fools, whether everybody knows it or not. Let's be real. I've been one of the biggest people who's gone up against the SEC and the freaking and ESPN, but yet here I am agreeing with them, which tells you how big a problem this is. Same with Big 10 fans, Big 12 fans, ACC fans. Like, they all agree with the fact, like, look, we would love for our teams to be involved, but 24 is too much, man. We need at least, just 16 teams? Like, we don't want no 24. We don't want this to be March Madness. Like, look, March Madness is basketball, and it works in basketball because of how many teams are involved across all 38 teams. Let's be realistic. All 38, from the Power 4 to the G6, all of them are involved. When it comes to football, football is not that. Football is something completely different. The G6 need their own national championships. They need that for themselves in football. They need their own TV deals. They need their own thing. They can still play these colleges such as Ohio State, your Georgias, and all them to get money for them, to get more revenue. But no, they can't play in the college football playoffs because they're never going to win, no matter how you want to speak of it. And not to mention, their coaches are going to get poached from the Power Four by Power Four teams. Like, for instance, Alex Golich, he was coaching at South Florida. He just got poached by Auburn. The way people look at the G6 is it is basically like what college football is to the NFL. It's like a little place where we can go find coaches we want to help us get better, or players, and we just take players from there. We can take coaches from there, people that we think are good that can help our program get better. That's what UCLA did with James Madison head coach. They just took the most recent one who had a lot of success at James Madison, other than Kirk Cignetti, and he just came and said, "Okay, we need you to come in, help fix our team, coach our team correctly. If you want to hire everybody from your coaching staff, you can, and if you want to bring players from James Madison over, you can. We'll have the money. We'll put the money in to back you up." That's the problem that the G6 face. You cannot compete with the Power Four because they have more money. They have more resources than any of the schools in the G6. It's just factual, whether we all like it or not. But maybe, again, having your own national title game with the Power 4 team supporting it and you getting possibly even TV revenue for the first time in your life, it might end up saving your conference, and more importantly, it might end up helping keeping college football at bay, where you guys can still face the Power 4, you just won't be involved in their playoffs. That'd be different.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it should be. But that's the only reason why I think it's going 24 is just because the G6 is involved.
I think from a marketing standpoint, like you were talking about, I think from revenue rights and getting a lot of these teams that maybe don't get a lot of the national TV stuff, because most of these teams play on their conference channels, so it's like they're not always getting like the national looks of playing on ESPN or ABC all the time, where they're kind of playing like on the ACC divisional website or stuff like that, or maybe they're just playing on, like, you can tune in online through their their athletic website or whatever the case is. I think that's fine if you want to give more of a national TV thing, but to add it to the playoffs, which a lot of teams have been fighting for, to get an opportunity to be a part of, and just saying, okay, well, we're going to make it 24 teams so we can make sure that some of these teams that are in these shorter conferences that maybe don't have a lot of teams in them, or these conferences that just, they have really good teams, but they're not getting the spark that they need. We'll just make sure that they get a chance and they can prove themselves here. And it's like, no, that's not how we can do this. Now, from an NCAA standpoint, like, yes, we talk about March Madness, and that's a very long, drawn out bracket, and it is very well because of how they do teams and how they do conferences, where everybody can get a look, and that has been I think in the 2 months they have officially increased it to 76 teams from the 68 teams, which, again, I think it's a lot of colleges being involved when you got 76 teams playing for the same thing, which makes the season a lot longer. But I also look at that. This, compared to a basketball season of an NFL season, we don't have that many games. The weeks that you see a team play is almost every Saturday up for what? Is it 16 weeks or somewhere along those lines?
Yeah.
And then at the end, yes, we do have the conference championships for each division, and then that plays a part. How is this gonna play into when we have to decide who gets what place? You got 24 teams. We're still gonna have the issue of, well, this team should have made it. Well, this team should have made it. Well, this team should have made it. With 24 teams, you're still gonna have that conversation. People are not still gonna agree with the picks you make with the 24 teams. Whether we don't agree with the teams you pick for the 12 teams. We didn't agree before that.
Actually, I would say this: the first 12-team playoff, everybody actually did agree with it. They were like, "Okay, you actually got it right." It's just that the placement in which they were was not right. They didn't agree with how they ranked. The second one is where people disagreed a little bit more because of Miami and Notre Dame, because of that old scenario. So, that is why people didn't agree with that. But but again, some people actually did agree with that, because it's like, if we want non-conference games to matter, a lot of people actually agree with it, saying, look, if we want non-conference games to matter, Miami has to get in on over Notre Dame, because now that they're in the 13th spot, they have the head-to-head over Notre Dame. So, like, I do think these head-to-head matchups do matter regarding rank, and do matter regarding who's getting in the playoffs. Now, I will say this: if the G6 one involved, I think, and you have another Power 4 team, I don't think it'd be that big of a deal. Now, I do think for Notre Dame, they get in, probably. Maybe them or Texas A&M, depending on everything else. But I think it would have been them, only because they have a better win-loss record than Texas A&M right now, I would say. So that, to me, is what would have solved it, is if you didn't have the G6 involved. So, like, if you had more Power 4 teams, it wouldn't matter. If not, like I said, as long as the G6 is involved, no other Power 4 team will get in. So that's what they got to fix, in my opinion.
I agree. I think ranking does play a big part, especially when it comes to who gets placed where, especially when it comes to when playoff time starts. That's going to determine what certain teams can finish and where certain teams they're going to be taken right out. That's why I also feel the 24 team bracket just makes it more difficult. I think
Mm-hmm.
because you can't technically determine, let's say you got a team like Ohio State who you can rank second, but it's like anything can happen where you got a second ranked team that's really ranked 15th in people's
Yeah,
opinions. And it's like, well, they shouldn't be ranked that low. But it makes for harder conversations.
it
But
do.
what it also causes is those teams that we don't think should be in there make it by an inch, by a little of a, well, let's just make them 24 and let's see what happens. No, they shouldn't be in there at all.
Nope.
They should be in there at all. But because they won their little one head-to-head matchup with a ranked opponent, we're like, they deserve to be in here. They showed that they can beat a ranked opponent. They they beat a 20 ranked opponent. They didn't beat
Right.
the top 10. They beat a 20 ranked opponent. I don't think that should be determined in the when we're making rankings of who should be in where and what position and what spot. So I hope we can get 16. I think 16, if we're going to get more, 16 is a perfectly good number that gives enough teams opportunities that if you see fit to have the opportunity. But to have 24 playoff teams and a 16-week season and to say that will determine all 24 of these teams is insane. I don't
The
think
only
the
way you'd be
game.
able to do the only way you'd be able to do that is if you move this season up to like 20 some games or something like that. That's what you would have
Yeah,
to do. You would have to go.
you're gonna have to add more games to the schedule because
Yeah.
you can't give these you can't say we're gonna do a 16-week season and then 24 teams will be taken out of that 16-week season. No, wait a minute. No, you need more games. You need a lot more games now. So if we
You
can do
do.
16, if yeah, it's you're going to have to create a longer season, which I think is another big reason why a lot of those big national TV people are going to be like, oh well, we can create a longer season. That's fine. We can add more games that people want to see anyway. Okay, but yes, but I'm not trying to watch football all the way up until the second, third week of January. Lovely, it sounds fun, but half of these kids are going to be drained by then. They're
Yeah.
playing all the way through a lot of games. It's a lot of games.
And think about it, it's already hard for the NFL athletes given the fact they're paying an 18 game season. Like, what you think these kids can do? Like, you would have
And
to
then,
really start playing a lot of depth at that point and resting these guys. And guess what? These regular season games won't matter that much at that point. So it's like, so you have
and
to really be
even
careful how you do things.
and even with the 18-week season in NFL, that was a big risk because
Hmm.
Even John Gruden stated we're going to have to make the preseason shorter. We're going to have to make the preseason maybe 2 weeks because we gotta make sure that all these guys can play and be healthy to start the season.
Oh, yeah. Either that or you better start developing depth.
Yeah.
That's all she's used to it. Now that we pretty much gotten the 2014 playoff out the way, we can pretty much start doing an early Ohio State and Texas breakdown because people have started breaking down big games early in the season. I will say that next Sunday we will do an early Michigan Oklahoma breakdown, and I don't know how that's gonna go, but I don't care. But yeah, no, for Ohio State and Texas, let's start with an early breakdown of their rosters. So let's start there. Now, I have seen a lot of people talk about Arch Manning, and I like Arch. I think he could be a good quarterback, but these media people are not doing him any favors right now. They're not.
I mean, Last season, he came in ranked number one in the AP. Before the season even started, they were like number one ranked. Archie Manning was supposed to be a Heisman Trophy winner. He was supposed to. And all these different things he was supposed to do last season, and then we saw the first game in Ohio State. He struggled a lot, immensely. The second game, he struggled, but not as much. The third game, it was a continuous breakdown of what Archie Manning still has to get through this season,
Mhm.
last season. So this season, I agree. It's the same conversation because now it's even worse. Now it's Archie Manning is going to the draft this year, and he's going to be a draft pick, and he's going to be this, and he's going to show you guys this, and it's like he has more work to do. Now, with a team like Texas, he is going to get a lot of chances to prove and show himself that he can be a top quarterback in this league. No doubt about it. But we got to pump the brakes on the Eli Peyton Manning saga story. He hasn't shown that yet. We haven't seen Archie Manning in an NFL ready right now moment, and we haven't seen it yet. Now, I understand we saw it in preseason, but he wasn't playing against guys that were really going 100%.
Yeah.
When we do a preseason breakdown, we got to really see where he's going to be. Do I think Texas can come out strong this season? I completely agree. But it starts with him. It starts with his leading ability. It starts with can he handle when things don't go his way. I think what we saw a lot of last season was Archie really struggled in moments where he had to make plays. And you saw he got the jitters. You saw he got nervous. You saw he didn't keep his composure. Can he do those things? Can he build on those things? Can he build on last season and say, I'm going to be better? I'm going to be better this season. I'm going to show that I deserve to be in the conversation with a lot of rest of these quarterbacks that you guys put ahead of me this season. But I think we look at the last name. I think everybody focuses on the Manning last name, and then they just forget everything else. and
Yeah.
I don't, and I don't think that's fair to him. I don't think that's fair to him. I think that they're rushing him. I first think they're rushing him. I think they're trying to rush where they want him to be and not meeting him where he already is. Now, we saw that for his freshman year, he took over for Quinn Ewers a couple of games, and he did pretty good. He did pretty good. But it wasn't against opponents that really, put up a fight. I mean, even when he got the couple of snaps against Georgia, he turned over the ball. So I think he has a lot of work to do. I don't think that we should be throwing Heisman and all this other stuff around. I think we should just let him develop his own way, and especially giving him the pieces that he needs to develop. I think that's where you first start with this when it comes to
Oh,
Archie Manning.
absolutely. Absolutely. I think that is one of the things as to why Arch has struggled so much. It's because of the fact that these people are trying, and I mean this when I say this, are trying to fast track him. I mean,
Yeah,
I said it with Julius saying I did not expect the kid to come in. I mean, this kid just basically came in and broke records from his first season, and nobody had the expectation for him to do that. Like Ohio State fans expected him to play good, but they didn't expect him to play the way he did, where he was breaking records last season. No one expected that.
yeah,
Why would you expect that out of Arch Manning? Like, guys, I get he's a good quarterback. He's got potential. But
he
you
does.
can't expect him to just come in and be the guy right away. Like, if Ohio State fans don't even expect that with a quarterback of their own, what coach would expect that with a player of a first time starting quarterback, period? Like, you don't know how these guys are going to go. Like, with Arch Manning, here's the thing he's a great deep ball passer. Where he
Oh yeah,
struggled in the Ohio State and Michigan game, no, or the Ohio State game and other games moving forward up until Texas A&M and throughout the season was intermediate throws and short throws. He
yeah,
was not great at those in the Ohio State game. You know what's funny is Ohio State said, "Oh, we weren't worried about him throwing short and intermediate because we knew he wasn't great at it." Now we knew he'd connect with those every so often, so we still were aware of those, but we weren't so worried about him in the pocket throwing intermediate and short throws. Again, he'll connect with those every so often, but we weren't too worried about him. Whereas with Everywhere else, the deep balls is where we were the most. It's where we were the most fearful of him because we know his deep balls are very accurate, and they were all season. His deep balls are very
Yeah.
accurate. So when I look at the matchup so far, like for instance, quarterback to quarterback, Julian is a better quarterback to start. He's the Heisman finalist. Again, it's very impressive that he did that. And I think Arch Manning has the potential to be that going into this year. I will not put that on this kid to say, oh, he's going to go out and be a Heisman finalist. No, he's got to show me that.
Yeah. He gotta
He's
show
got
me
to show
that.
me that. So as of right now, I would say when it comes to the advantage at quarterback, right now it's Ohio State because of what Sayan did last year and the fact that he's coming back and improving and the
Yeah.
fact that Ohio State is actually allowing him to run. I've told people this from the beginning. Julian Sayan can run. You saw it in little increments last year. Like against Penn State, he dodged Chaz Coleman and another one of their D linemen who tried to sack him and ran and got the first down. I see it. That's what the mobility we talking about. Like, yes, he's not the most athletic quarterback Ohio State's ever had, but he is athletic enough to move. He can run. And Ohio State is going to let him do it this year. They're going to let him finally just let him go run. And I think that we get Tavius St. Clair involved in that, as well as the third quarterback they got out of the portal from Maryland. So, no, the run game is going to be pretty good with Sayan, and he's going to start taking yards ahead because he can, and he did it before, only in little increments. And I expect him to improve this year. I think Arch Manning will improve, and I do think his legs will be a factor. Although, again, with Matt Patricia, who went up against Michael Vick in these dudes, I don't think that's going to be a problem for him because he knows how to stop mobile quarterbacks. Like he's gone up against a guy like Michael Vick, like he knows.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. If I had to get an advantage, it would be Ohio State at quarterback. Now the next one that we got to look at is running back and wide receiver. Who do you think got the advantage there?
Wow, we talking about #1 ranked guy, Jeremiah Smith. I'm just saying. Okay. Overall, I'm not gonna do it individually. I'm gonna say
Yeah, just
who is a factor. Who can they take more advantage of getting more yardage and creating more for their team? I think for Texas, they rely too much on QB play, and that determines how their receivers and running backs move.
mhm.
I think Ohio State does a good job because everybody has a position, everybody has a role that is connected to each other, where it's not just one person that can take advantage, it's the entire team itself. I want to give it to Ohio State because I'm not trying to Texas hate guy. I'm not trying to Texas hate. Texas might take something at this breakdown. I only say them because of the wide receiver caliber room that they have. And because you saw what they can do. Now, I don't want to take away from anybody in Texas, but I also feel like last year Texas didn't get to put a lot of people in the spotlight that came from the offensive side of the ball. That's another big thing. So I can't say, oh yeah, this guy was great on the 1v1s. This guy was great on the slant routes. Because if they were, Archie wasn't hitting them. So the movement might have been great, but seeing them after the catch, seeing them in those moments of like making something for their team happen was hard. Texas running game wasn't the greatest last season. It was not. They did not have a great running game. It was there, but it wasn't as great as it should have been. It showed itself sometimes, but not all the time. So I got to give it to Ohio State. I think Ohio State's running game and wide receivers just overtake Texas because you haven't seen enough from them. I only say that because we haven't seen enough from them. I think this is a lot of what if questions when it comes to Texas offense, where I just haven't seen them do enough for me to say, yep, they're going to improve. They're going to get better. They're going to be this and they're going to be that. I only can say that if we put them in situations where they get to show that.
Yeah, I would say the same thing is that with Ohio, look, because I know what a lot of people are going to say, because Texas did get some great, remarkable running backs from the transfer portal and
And
got
that's
great receivers as well. They did. Cam Coleman, that dude, in my opinion, is a top three, maybe even the top two receiver out of all them all. Of course, he's not going to be number one because we all know it's Jeremiah Smith, but he's definitely like a top three, top five receiver in all of the NFL. I mean, in all of college football. So when
right.
we look at him, it's pretty obvious why people would think Texas would have the advantage. But here's the reality. Here's the reality. The reality is Ohio State still has a much better receiving unit than Texas. Because of this, they're deeper than Texas. Now,
Yeah.
Ryan Wingo is a good receiver, but he hasn't done anything really. And every time he faces Ohio State, he don't do anything. Cam Coleman is pretty much your number one wide receiver overall, if we're being honest. Like, he's your best, but I want to see how he does in this Texas offense first as well, because
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, he has his own set of issues he needs to work on. And
Yeah.
then you have, who was the name of their third receiver? I know who he is, but I forget who he is from the portal. He's really good too. But what you're going up against with Ohio State are the best defensive backs in the nation. You know what's funny is their defensive backs have improved from last year. Like, for instance, Jermaine Matthews, who's been going up against the best wide receiver since his freshman year. He's gone up against Marvin Harrison Jr., which, to what that tells you. He's gone up against Emeka Egbuka. He's gone up against Carnell Tate. He's gone up against Brandon Ennis, who's still here coming back for his final year. And then he's gone up against Jeremiah Smith every day. And then you got Devin Sanchez, who's kind of doing the same thing. Yeah, like people who try to target Jermaine Matthews. Let me tell you something. This is the guy who's gone up against the best of the best and has not gotten beat like crazy. Like, people who think he's not a great one-on-one, have you seen him since his freshman year? Have you seen him in his sophomore year? That man was locking up receivers like no tomorrow because he was going up against the best every day. There was nobody better. The only game in which he played bad was the Indiana game. That was the one game he didn't play his best. The Miami game he played well. I mean, he was covering Malachi Tony. People, go look at what Malachi Tony did against Ohio State. He didn't do anything. He just played like straight garbage. Yeah. If we're being honest, he didn't do anything. So what does that tell you? And then you got Devin Sanchez, the freshman, who's coming back for another year. And, you know, I saw it in his freshman year. He improved. He was good to start. But his second year, he kind of fell off like a freshman does. Well, now you look at him, he's going up against Jeremiah Smith, and he's giving him problems every day. And name me a corner who ever could give Jeremiah Smith problems one-on-one that you've ever seen. Not one you can think of in college football. And he's doing that. And he's got the size to do it.
Yeah.
So, like, that's what you're going up against. You're going up against the best corners. And even the slot corners, with Lorenzo gone, they're still showing, like, remarkable players. I mean, they got Earl Little Jr. playing there, and he's been doing really well. Like, what? He's got the length, the size, the speed, and everything you need in a nickel. He can play both corner. He can play slot and safety. That's what you really need in your nickel, is the ability to play both. Guess what? He can do that. You're going up against a better secondary than anything that you face ever, even in the SEC. And they're even deeper there because they ended up getting Georgia's Dominic Kelly, which, if you've seen Dominic Kelly, he is so good. And I say it's Georgia. How'd you let this one slip out of your fingers? How?
Georgia's been having problems. Georgia's been having problems.
I mean, yeah, we're going to get to that if you see in the new NFL news, because we're going to be talking about that. Plus, you know. But but what I'm saying for Texas is, I don't know if your wide receivers are that great. I don't know. Whereas, like, for Ohio State, I know they're NFL receivers. Like, I know a lot of people get on Brandon Ennis' Cortez because of last season, but if you look at last season, he got open a lot. Him and Sayin just did not connect a lot, and they're working on that connection now. And when I look at Brandon Ennis, I see it in a wide receiver. I see a first rounder, if anything.
Yeah.
First or second rounder. If I had to take a guess where he'd be drafted in the first round, it would be late first round, like JSN and like Emeka Egbuka. That's where he'd get drafted. And I think he'll have a good career in the NFL. We all know Jeremiah Smith is probably going number one overall if a quarterback ain't it. If quarterback is not the lead.
Yeah, I think
we all know that.
I think if you look at this draft coming up, I think Dante Moore is definitely going to be a top name to look at. And the quarterback from Ole Miss, I think those are going to be top two. that are definitely going to be looked at when the season ends. But I think Jeremiah Smith is going to be at least be a top three. A top
Yeah,
three.
for sure. Especially with Cornell, who got drafted at number 4 to the Titans.
Yeah.
I didn't look.
And you know,
I knew he was going to be taken in the top 10. I did not expect him to be the first one taken
yeah,
off the
I
board.
didn't, because what surprised me about that draft, I was surprised that Arizona went with a running back that early. Because everybody was very surprised that Jeremiah Love went third. And then you draft Cornell Tate, which is perfect. I think Cam Ward is going to.
They need a wide receiver.
They need a wide receiver. I think Cam Ward is going to use him a lot next season. So I think that it was really good moves all around. So, but yeah, no, I think Jeremiah is going to be top 3. Wherever team is 3, I think they're going to be trying to fight for him.
Yeah.
For sure.
But it's not just that too. Like, go ahead and think about the rest of the receiving unit. They got Kyle Parker out of LSU, and I haven't been the biggest fan of LSU's wide receivers lately because I've always said it. They always have like this whole, in between spot. Like after they have a great set of receivers, they go on like a little drought where they don't have the best set of receivers. Kyle Parker is actually a pretty good receiver. And if you look at his picture from LSU to Ohio State, he's much bigger than what he was at LSU, which makes me question LSU's strength and conditioning program a lot. Because I'm like,
I think LSU's program is about to change in a big, big way. But yeah,
their strength and conditioning program needs some work. Because I'm like, the fact that your wide receiver program, the fact that Kyle Parker looked like how he looked like a beast at Ohio State. He looked more like a man, whereas at LSU, if you look at his picture, you're like, what is kid?
If you saw their defense last season, I was like, do y'all get in the gym? Like, what's the problem? What's going on?
That's the problem. Now, here's the funny thing though, because Lane Kiffin is not really known for his defense. I mean, the reason he's over there is for offense, and the offense last year wasn't great either.
No.
But if we're being honest, now I'm interested to see how he's going to change that defense, because Ole Miss's defense last year wasn't that great either. So I'm interested to see how that's going to work.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Ole Miss defense kept you in games. And
it kept you in games enough.
It kept you in games enough. If you can bring half of that to LSU, I think you'll have a chance.
You'll have a chance, yeah. But I'm interested to see.
Definitely.
But when I look at Kyle Parker, I'm like, yeah, this guy gonna be a good wide receiver. I think he's gonna be in the slot. Then they got that receiver from TSA, whatever that little G6 school, David McEwen. That guy is fast. He is a burger.
Yeah,
he is fast. I'm like, why was he in the G6?
I think you should. If you look at I think that was the same thing we said about Ashton Jeanty when he was at Mountain West, and I'm just like, who was this kid at Boise State running like this? Is crazy.
Yeah, this is Boise State. Boise State always has a reputation for being like a good football program. So
yeah,
they are, and they always have more winning.
I think they surprise you in certain cases because you don't always get to see them. But I think you always have some diamonds in the rough, like some gems, and if you can find them and like really see where they can exceed, you have a really good chance. That's why I just say from Texas's side, you bring in a lot of good wide receivers, you bring in some running back people, but you now have to see how this team can form with it. Like you just said, you just like Sion and Njoku, there were some moments he was open and they didn't see it. So now you get to work on that. For Archie, some of these guys you've never worked with before. So now you have to see where their strengths are, and then you have to see where your strengths you can really use them.
Yeah, and not only that, but also think about it too. Like I said, I didn't even bring up the fact of the 2 freshmen from last year who are now sophomores, and Phillip Bell and Desi Jones, who've been a part of this team last year, who do work with Julian Sayin. And I think they're going to get some playing time as well. But also the freshmen Ohio State brought in Jaquil Guilford, Chris Henry, and Brock Boyd, who's like a reincarnation of Brian Hartline, legit as a football player. So it's like he's getting a chance to work with those guys and figure out how they fit in the offense, and he's working with them on a constant basis. And it's working out as well, including the 2 transfers they brought in. It's actually working. Like Ohio State's kind of figuring it out. And I know Ohio State has a new offensive coordinator, what is new. They're always losing coaches, basically. But Arthur Smith, in my opinion, is like the perfect fit for this offense as well. So it's like the way I look at it. Now, the only thing you're pretty much looking at with Texas and Ohio State that is equal, where you're trying to see which one is better, is where you got to see them both improve is offensive line. Because Ohio State's offensive line was good last year, but it wasn't like how it was in 2024. Like, it took a step back. So
I think for Texas too. I think Texas.
yeah, no, for Texas, they got better as the year went on, like Ohio State, but there were still some moments where it was like, we still got to see more from both as far as offensive line. So offensive line, it's like you're kind of iffy on both. But wide receiver, like I said, I do believe Ohio State has the advantage because they're deeper and their quarterback has worked with a lot of these players on the wide receiver. And running back, they're better because of the fact that obviously Bo Jackson's back and he just came off having a 1,000-yard season. He didn't even start the season. He got 1,000 yards without starting the season for majority of the games. Like, think about that. And then you have Isaiah West who's coming back, who had a really good season as well. You have Turbo Rogers. You have the kid Jackson from Florida State. You're also bringing in Legend Bay, who I think will be a monster for this team, especially on special teams. Thank the freaking Lords for that. You got really deep at running back. And when it comes down to it, I know a lot of people are trying to say, well, Texas's running backs could be like TreVeyon Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, where here's the difference. TreVeyon Henderson was part of the program when Quinshon came in. Both these running backs are coming out of the portal. So, you got to figure out how they're going to fit in this offense entirely. TreVeyon Henderson is an alum of Ohio State, came in for 4 years, stayed for 4 year. Quinshon Judkins came in for his final year at Ohio State, and they worked well together because they fit. Ohio State knows what to do with TreVeyon. It's just how did Quinshon fit, and they figured that out. So I would not compare any pairing to TreVeyon and Quinshon unless, your running backs, unless one of them had been part of the school, knows the playbook, knows the system, the other one comes in and you know how he fits alongside him. That's how you would be able to pair them. Other than that, I get it. They're both great running backs, but it don't matter if Arch Manning has never worked with these guys before. Whereas, and I get it too. We brought in Will Howard, who never worked with Trey Anderson, who never worked with Quinshon, but these guys worked together majority of the season, all throughout the offseason, to try to feel each other's rhythm out. So it's but with Julian saying he's worked with Bo, he's worked with Isaiah, he's worked with Turbo, he's worked with 3 of the running backs that are coming back this year. So you gotta give that leg up to Ohio State because they know where all these running backs fit. And with Jackson and with Legend, Legend will know where he fits. We'll know where he fits when, however Ohio State use him. Jackson is the one we got to figure out where does he fit. I think he'll be the number 3 behind Isaiah and behind Bo. And I think they'll use him kind of similarly to what they did with C.J. Henderson to C.J. Donaldson. But I think he might be used a little bit more as well, though, in certain situations. So that's pretty much why I would give the edge to Ohio State regarding that. Now, tight ends is a place I would say that we also have to say, who do you think has the advantage there? Hard question, Nene.
Yeah, it is. It is because I feel like it falls. I want to say Texas because I feel like we got to see Texas tight ends kind of play a bigger part in certain stuff that they ran. I think Ohio State has a good tight end core. I think the depth is different. I think Ohio State's depth is different than Texas's depth. But I think you see Texas run a lot kind of more tight end sets where they're used not just as blockers. So I want to say Texas has that tight end for now.
I'll say that right now. I was about to say, I think Texas has the advantage because of how they use their tight ends. Now, with Ohio State, it is a little harder to get your tight ends the ball more often because of the receivers and the running backs, and there's only one ball that can go around for everybody. So that's harder. But I will say this. I'm looking forward to seeing how, because I know for a fact Nate Roberts is going to be the number 1. Now, if Claire and Will Kazmarek are coming back, I would give it to Ohio State. But because they didn't come back and they're in the NFL, you got to give it to Texas because their guys are coming back and we know what their tight end room looks like.
Yeah, we got a good tight end.
So with Ohio State, you got to figure it out. Now, Bennett Christian is back. He's not the best of them, but he is the best blocker of them all, but not the best pass catcher. He's good at that, but he's not great or as great. We have to figure out how great of a pass catcher Nate Roberts is because he's an elite blocker as well. He's right up there with Bennett Christian as a great blocker among the tight ends, but we got to see how well it does pass catching. Now, we'll say this. Northwestern and Ohio's tight end that they got out of the portal, they're solid, but we have to see how they fit moving forward. And then obviously they got tight end depth, but we got to see how all these guys play. Because some of these guys we only seen block for the most part, not like
Yeah,
wide receiver, so or play as a receiving tight end much. So
that
we got to
and
see.
that's why I just see Texas because
Yeah,
I just want to see more in depth of not just blocking but also how you guys
pass
can
catching.
pass catching too. That's the only thing.
Yeah. So okay. So regarding defense, who would you give the advantage to?
Oh, see, that's the hard one. That's the hard one because I first I think Texas has always been a defensive school. I first want to say that I think Texas has always been a defensive school because of how their defenses ran. It's hard. Okay, only because when I look at Texas defense, when I look at Texas defense, I think sometimes the corners very well struggled. I think their secondary was good enough. I want to say from a line perspective, I think the defensive line wasn't the greatest. I think they struggled. I think it was definitely their secondary and like it was very more secondary stuff compared to Ohio State. Ohio State got to the quarterback a lot. They caused a lot of from the defensive line. I want to say it's even. I want to say
Here's
it's
what I
even.
was. I know why you want to say it's even, but I will say this. I think I would give the advantage to Ohio State for this one thing.
Okay.
They are returning a lot of their players from last year. The only and let's be realistic on D line, they're bringing back Kenyatta Jackson, and I can tell you Kenyatta's a beast.
Hmm.
Just ask how many offensive linemen who had to hold and tackle that man so many times.
That's why I say that D line, Ohio State's
Yeah,
D line gets to you.
they got James Smith from Alabama, who I said was really talented coming out of high school. Was at Bama during Nick Saban's final year. Was there for Kellen DeBoer and them, as well as Qua Rusaw, who was really talented coming out. He had some work he needed to work on, but he's a really good edge. And when you're looking, and when you hear about them from Ohio State, you're still trying to figure out how these two dudes didn't work out at Bama because they're so freaking good.
Yeah.
You got Ben Atkinson from North Carolina. While I get last year his season wasn't as great as people expected it, probably because he's getting used to playing at Ohio State.
Yeah.
He has looked better, and it seems like he's going to have a better season. You have Zion Grady. Oh my God, is that kid a beast? That kid is a future. That kid is going to be something different when he fully takes over the reins of being a starter. That kid going to be a freak. Y'all wait and watch. Epi Satanale, who I've been hearing a lot about as well. Who I said it. This kid. I'm not saying he JTT like JT Tuimola, but he got the potential. He got the potential. He got it. So that D line is deep, as well as when you're talking about Will Smith Jr. and Edric Houston as well. Oh my God! And the rest of that D tackles and edge rushers, man, they are deep across the D line. Secondary, they've replenished easily. It's not even a question. Like, their secondary is going to be elite. The only thing they're going to miss, and I would say the only thing this defense is going to miss, is Caleb Downs, because he was the quarterback of the defense and he knew where everything was.
Yeah.
So, like, you're going to miss that, but I do believe they will be able to handle their own at a level where they won't get destroyed, but they will be able to hold their own. They won't be as like they were with Caleb, but they still will be good.
Okay.
And then when I'm looking at the linebackers, it's the freakiest and deepest linebacker room I have ever seen in my life. Look, Peyton Pierce is going to be the starting linebacker. There's no doubt about it. But then they bring in Christian Allegro from Wisconsin, who I liked very much at Wisconsin. Go watch him at Wisconsin, people. The man was really good. It's just that Wisconsin team just was not great itself.
I mean, yeah, I think Wisconsin's always been an up and down team, especially in the conference that they're in. You playing against a lot of Big Ten schools, yeah. Wisconsin never is going.
That used to be like a really good school at the one point. I would say from the 2010s all the way to 2019, they were really good.
Oh my God.
Bro.
Man,
2010 to 2019, they were so freaking good. But since then, they taken such a downhill turn.
everybody
But
used to be up at Wisconsin. I couldn't believe it. I was like, why
yeah,
am I coming?
Yeah, but Wisconsin, man, I'm not gonna lie. When I watched him, he plays like how Ohio State used him against the tight ends is kind of simple. Like I think he's gonna be the neutralizer against tight ends because of how he plays. He plays like how Sonny Styles plays, not exactly because Sonny's a total freak, but he's like a linebacker that can play safety against a tight end. If you know what I mean, he can play tight end in so many facets. So, like, I think he could be like the neutralizer against tight ends. Then the other ones, the young ones, like Eli Lee, TJ Alford, and freaking Riley Penshon, athletic freaks. Eli Lee surprised me by how freaky athletic he was. I'm like, Eli, look, I knew you had athleticism, but I didn't think you were that big of a freak, bro. Like, what? What? And then you get Sincere Johnson.
I didn't know you had that. That surprised me right there.
Bro, Sincere Johnson might be the freakiest linebacker we've seen since Carmel and Sonny. Because we lost two freaky linebackers. Sincere Johnson walked in and said, "Hold my Gatorade. I'm gonna show you what a freaky linebacker can do." That boy is freaky.
Hold my Gatorade. Hey, hold my
Gatorade. I'm gonna show you exactly what a freaky linebacker does. Let me show you. That's what I'm talking about. Like, Ohio State's linebacker room is so deep. And obviously, I think they're going to rotate with like 4 or 5 of those guys. And I didn't even mention Garrett Stover, Kate Stover's cousin, who's been freaky athletic in his own right and has been working hard like no tomorrow. Like, this guy is going to get some playing time as well. So, like, when I look at Ohio State's linebacker room compared to Texas, they have the upper hand compared to that because they have a much deeper and much freakier athletic linebacker room. Entirely. I look at D-line. Ohio State obviously has the advantage on that one. Like, look, I like Collins, the edge rusher they have on their team, but he wasn't all that as we're seeing now. Like, he hasn't really done anything. But the rest of Ohio State's D-line, man, compared to Texas, so much better. And then when you're talking about secondary, yeah, like I would say both are kind of equal in that, but I still think Ohio State holds the edge because of Jermaine Matthews and Devin Sanchez's ability to go one-on-one, along with Earl Little. Like, they have the ability to go one-on-one with those receivers on the outside. Whereas when we're talking about, let's say, how am I going to say this? When we're talking about Texas, theirs is very... They're not going to be able to go one-on-one with Jeremiah Smith. Let's just call it what it is. And the rest of the wide receiver room, that's my struggle.
I will say that I think Texas plays more of like that zone coverage. They don't really go man-to-man a lot. They kind of...
Yeah, but that's the problem, though. And here's the thing, is that when you're going up against Ohio State, you're going to go to... If you're double... Because the thing that let them contain Jeremiah Smith was their defense that they ran. And you know what's funny? Is they fired their defensive coordinator last year. And the guy running the defense this time is not the same guy. So, like, that's the biggest advantage I think Ohio State has is a guy like Matt Patricia. Because I would say he is the biggest advantage that Ohio State has because he's the same D coordinator, but he's also multiverse. He's multi across the board. Like, if people want to know, what do I mean by that? If you've listened to the OHL podcast, we've talked about it before. This guy can do anything with any players, and he can create a defensive system based on the players he has. And the system that he's working on is disguising their coverages with the secondary. Not just simulated pressures, but now we're going to disguise our coverage in the secondary. Now we're going to mix it up, and we're going to really confuse the quarterback. And that's what worked against teams last year was how they hit their defense. Now they're definitely going to be doing it with the secondary. So that's why I think Ohio State's defense is better because they have advantages in 2 of the 3 areas where whether in the third area, you could say, again, defensive back, both are equal in a sense, but Ohio State might be slightly better because their corners can go one-on-one with their receivers, where Texas can't do that. Like, you go one-on-one with Jeremiah Smith, watch how well that works. Go one-on-one with the receivers at Ohio State, watch how well that works. That's not going to work. But it's not just that. It's the fact that with Texas, your defense is going to be different compared to what it was last year. Whereas Ohio State, it's going to be the same in a sense. And you have a defensive coordinator who knows how to use all the pieces he has on that board and has a defense scratch up for every player, every position, and every set. So that's why I would say Ohio State is better.
Okay. I can't disagree with you on that. because of the in depth, I think Texas has built a defense that they can be proud of. But I also have to see them to be able to beat teams that they need to beat,
Yeah, that's the
and
other thing.
that's just the one thing with their defense that you see they have a struggling point with. Because I think that first year, last year, I think that the biggest thing they were going to look at was offense of how they can win games, where defense can keep them in games, and they struggled with that from both sides, from the offense and defense side of the ball. Because what happens when Archie can't help you? Can your defense keep you where it doesn't get out of hand? And they didn't show that. So we have to see this season more than ever. What is Texas' identity?
Hmm.
What kind of team do you guys want to be? And what kind of team are you looking to be this season? Is this the Archie Manning show, or is this the Texas Longhorn show? And this is what we do best together, not just one person. So
Yeah,
we'll
because
see.
and that's what I would say. Because like Ohio State knows what they want to be on defense, and I think they have an idea as to what they want to be on offense that we have to see play out. Obviously, when it comes to the
Yeah,
offensive side of the ball, but I
I
think they
agree.
know what they want to be and how they want to execute stuff. Whereas Texas, we just don't know because it's like their offense is very up and down, and we don't know if it's going to be the Arch Manning show or if it's or are they going to find a way to include everybody in the offense. So we're going to have to
Yeah,
figure that part out. So yeah,
I,
no. When it comes down to it, I'm looking forward to this matchup because I think it will be good, but I want to
yeah,
see how both sides play it out. And like I said, Ohio State does hold an advantage in some of the areas where, again, the only
yeah,
area where Ohio State and Texas are equal is offensive line to the fullest extent because we don't know how good their offensive lines are going to be moving
yeah.
forward. Like again, you do expect to see improvement because you did see that last year, but you want to see it to the fullest now. Um, but now we can talk about the NFL news about Rashid Rice getting jailed again, along with another Georgia player got arrested for speeding, no, which is Eagles linebacker Nolan. Which is it surprising at this point? It's not. Let's be real. A Georgia player getting arrested for speeding is not surprising. But Rashid Rice got jailed because he smoked marijuana in a state where it was illegal and sped in a 70s. Just like it. So, like, what are we doing today, people?
How many games did he miss last year? Didn't he
Hmm?
miss the first 5 games
Yeah, he did.
for suspension? Oh, oh.
It's getting sad at this point where
It's
Rashid Rice,
getting
like I said, the no, the
amazing wide receiver. Amazing wide receiver when he's on the field.
yes,
Amazing. And here's where this comes into play. It's not even about Rasheed Rice anymore. Now Kansas City has to make a decision. We gotta figure something out, man. We gotta sit you down and talk because we can't do this. I need you. I need you this season. I don't have Patrick Mahomes to start off the season right now. So I need everybody to be on their P's and Q's. Everybody. And you being in the media for non-football things is not helping me. It's not.
it's not going to help. And like I said,
It's
Eagles linebacker, like I said, the Eagles linebacker is not surprising. He went to Georgia. Georgia players are known for doing this. But Rashid Rice, I'm starting to wonder, like, how come you didn't go to Georgia, dude? How come? Because you seem to be a Georgia player with the stupid stuff you do.
it's crazy. Georgia is not. Georgia cannot be a party school like this. I can't. It can't
You know
be.
what's funny is another one of their players did get arrested for something stupid as well. And it wasn't even speeding this time. They got in trouble for something else. But it's
Just-
like, my God.
why is it
That
that? Why is it that everybody get into a car and just say 100 miles has to be the speed limit? It's not. 100 miles is not the speed limit, guys. It's not the speed limit when you get into a car. It's not.
they're just super excited to just once they get a fast car and
Right. It's
they
just
want to pretend
like,
they want to
oh,
pretend like this is Fast and Furious. They want to pretend like this is Fast and Furious. That's the problem.
everything's for family. That's what they said. Everything's for family. Like, no,
Yeah,
you are not Vin
no,
Diesel. I am not on a TV studio set. Slow it down, buddy. Slow it down.
exactly. Like just slow down. But that does a little bit on that. It's just funny to see some of these NFL players do some of the stupid things, especially the Georgia players. It's just funny at this point. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the Eagles D tackle who they drafted from Georgia also got arrested for something as well. Not speeding, but he got arrested.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. I think the Eagles just have one person got to get arrested before the season starts. We just gotta somebody got to
And
get.
here's the funny thing: the Eagles do love getting talent from Georgia, and let's be real, Georgia got excellent talent. It's just that expect them to get arrested off the field. That's just just expect it at this point. Just expect it.
You're gonna go to jail. You might get arrested, but hey, you'll be there for Sunday. You'll be there for Sunday, right? Game day. All right, for sure.
Yeah. Just go do whatever.
See you on Monday for the off season training.
All right, guys. Crazy. We're about to approach the final 2 course. Oh, and when I do decide, because I'm about to get finish this commercial run, we'll start going on commercials. Just take little breaks every now and again during the show. But I'm gonna finish up the little commercial banner I'm doing. So, but we're gonna finish out this, which is the NBA conference title game recap so far. What I'm talking about is we're gonna be talking about obviously the NBA playoffs and the recap of the title games so far in the conference title games and the NBA finals, early NBA finals preview. Let's just start off with the easiest one so far, because we're gonna get into the one that's the harder one that'll end a little later, which is New York versus the Cavs. Oh my God, Chris, Eric, and all the people of Ohio, I feel so sorry for y'all.
They asked
Melo, congrats to you, my brother. Congrats to you. Your New York Knicks is gonna be going to the freaking. They're gonna be going to the finals because they whooping the Cavs ass right now.
They asked you at the beginning of the season. They said, "How is James going to be a factor to bring the Cavs to the finals?" And we all said the same thing. We said James has to play in this point guard mode that he set himself up to, but he has to be a factor. First, New York is the best all-around team that I've seen these playoffs, from the first game that they played to the last. Now, we all expected it to be Boston. I remember everybody was like, Boston's going to the finals again. JT coming back off injury. It was the Cinderella story of the making. Jaylen Brown has finally shown that he can be the number 1 guy on your favorite team. And then Philadelphia did what Philadelphia does. Against all odds, play great basketball and win the game. The Knicks, right now, have outdone the Cavs in 3 different separate categories. 3-point shooting, rebounding, and defense. Their defense has struggled immensely. Jaylen Brown's looking like one of the top best Knicks of all time, outside of Patrick Ewing and John Starks. And yes, we know it's those Villanova boys. The Nova boys have struck again.
The Nova Knicks. The Nova Knicks. Here's the thing I will always say to NFL teams. Like, you see what the Knicks did? They just got players from the best, winningest program as far as basketball players, and they just said, let's bring them all on one team, and look how well that's working for them. For any NFL team, start doing that. Looking for the winningest schools to start taking players from there and building players around that. Maybe that'll work for you.
We just put a whole bunch of Ohio State, Alabama guys on one team and see what happens.
Yeah, Ohio State, Alabama, and probably Georgia. Even if they get arrested, probably. You're like, hey, at least they play good and help us win. So they're
just gonna all go to Philadelphia. All the Georgia guys just hit to Philly.
Hey, at least Philadelphia had the common sense to do that. They're pretty much Georgia.
I feel like half of everybody I feel like we can just head to Texas. Houston, Ohio. Everybody had to Houston. Ohio State guys. Go play with CJ and everybody else. We just all gonna work together. I think it's smart. It would be. It would be it would be the smartest thing ever. How do I say this? We remember the days. We remember the Knicks. I remember the Knicks. Melo Knicks. Jeremy Lin Knicks. We remember R.J. Barrett Knicks. We remember Kemba Walker was on the Knicks for a year. To see what they've done now, how when Jalen Brunson first went to New York, everybody said the same thing. We do not know this kid. We do not know how good Jalen Brunson is. How can we trust that he's going to be the guy to send us to the playoffs, to send us to the finals of all things? He has done that. Jalen Brunson has been your favorite player's favorite player.
Oh yeah.
He has been a dynamic player. Now, from Cleveland side, they've struggled in a lot of different cases. I mean, you knock off a team. I believe they played.
The Detroit Pistons.
They did. You played the Detroit
Yeah, the
Pistons.
Detroit Pistons, the number one team in the Eastern
Number one
Conference. And that's
team.
why I see it. That's why I see it. You know, when it comes down to it, I want to see the Detroit Pistons versus the Knicks because I think that would have been a great series. But I also said the Cavs could have given them a great series if they play good. But that don't depend on how they play.
The rematch that the Detroit Pistons and the Knicks would have had from last year's first round would have fed families. It would be beautiful.
Yeah.
But even then, Detroit struggled against the Orlando Magic, who was an 8th seed, and that went to 7 games, and that was a very hard battle. And then you go to
Oklahoma. I would say this: the Orlando Magic have been a pretty good team this season, and
Yeah, no,
at
they
one
have
point
been.
they were a top 5 team at one point.
Yeah, no.
You just said. So I
I
kind of
think
can't give the Detroit Pistons that. It's like you were going up against a great Orlando Magic team, despite them being 8th. You went up against a great team.
The Magic went through injuries this season, and to have a healthy team, they gave you the run. They gave you exactly what you thought they were going to give you. They put up a fight. And then you look at the Pistons, who we knew that a problem was going to be for them was shooting, the 3-point shooting, the scoring. They were a little undersized, but they still got the job done. To go against the Cavs team, where James showed that James Harden could be James Harden, that he can give you his numbers, it's harder to do that against a team like the Knicks who keep scoring, who keep the momentum on. Like, they are a defensive team. They're not built on that, but they can be that when they want to be. And they can show you, you can see that. I don't know what first, the Cavs are about to get swept. Okay, any Cavs fan, I'm so sorry to tell you this. So sorry to ruin your day. You're going to get swept tomorrow. But that's okay. That's okay. Now, when you get swept, there's 2 things you need to make sure you do. You got to make sure Donovan Mitchell does not leave in free agency or ask to get traded, which means you need to make sure that you get him guys that are going to make sure that he stays. I know you guys don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this either. LeBron James is going to be a free agent next year. I know. No, listen to me. Do not do this to me. I'm just trying to tell you guys what to do. I'm not saying that he's available. I'm not saying that this is the move. I'm just saying he's available. You guys get him on a cheap contract. Finish out his career. He's Akron, Ohio, number 23. I'm just saying. Just putting that out there. It can work if you want it to work. That's all I'm saying. You know, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm going to say. If not the case, you bring in James, which was a great option because of the way he is as a point guard, the way he moves stuff. We're not looking for Houston Rockets James Harden. You need Clippers James Harden, what you got. You need Philly James Harden. He struggles certain places, and you can't trust James all the time. You can sometimes, you can't trust him all the time. Donovan, you can trust all the time when you give him the right pieces to what he can do. You build this team around Donovan, you give him what he needs, he will give you a championship. He will give you a championship. The Knicks are in a great place because they're about to make the finals. Can they win the finals? That's the better question. That's the question that's on everybody's mind. Can they be that finals team that can be the upset team that can take on anybody and everybody and win the finals? I don't know. But they're
Yeah.
about to have a lot of rest and a lot of time to figure out if they can.
Yep,
So
because the upcoming game will be about the Spurs and the Spurs and the Thunder, which I said would be a great series. It was gonna be them. And I forget who they faced. Who were they facing before? It wasn't the Lakers. That was the Thunder. It was the Timberwolves. I said the
yeah, they went
Timberwolves,
against Minnesota.
the Spurs were gonna be the best matchup for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they have been. They've actually been pretty freaking good matchup so far. So I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be really amazing to see who wins these bout between these two teams because they've been going back and forth, back and forth. Now I will say the OKC have won the last two. Can the Spurs win theirs tonight? Because they
Yes.
do have a game 5 matchup coming up. But tonight
Yes.
we got to see if the Spurs win, and if they do, it goes to a game 6. So, how excited are you for this matchup, and who do you think wins this matchup between
I think the
OKC?
Spurs win. I think the Spurs win. I think they could have won. They could have won on Friday. I think they let up. So here's what I feel. And this is not to talk about OKC. I respect OKC as a team. I'm looking
They're
at
the
you.
defending champions. You gotta
I
respect
get
them.
it. Back to back MVP Shea Gilgeous Alexander. I get it. I don't want to. Right. I'm looking at you, Scott Brooks. I'm looking at you, Tony Brothers. I'm looking at y'all, man. You gotta call it. You gotta call. Okay. I can't do the flopping anymore. The flopping has to stop. What
Yeah.
happened to the game I love? What happened to the game I love? And everybody's like, well, why is Victor having to do all these different drills of getting these guys off? Because they're not calling it.
Right.
Victor is being held in that paint like a little kid trying to go through the
Because he's
grocery
bigger than
store.
all them.
Yeah, and like it was one and Chet and I understand, I get it. Victor is a tall, aggressive guy, and he is going to get his way. But Victor is also understanding. Okay, I'm not about to get these calls, so I'm going to try to learn to fight my way around it where I can help my team. I think the point guard depth is hurting San Antonio. They
Yeah.
need De'Aaron. De'Aaron is one of their top guys. They need De'Aaron if they're going to win. I think Dylan Harper is another great. Cassell. All of these guys are needed. If you can make sure that they're all on the same page and understand it, they can. You guys can win. I think De'Aaron is a very, very big part of this. I think the 3-point shooting hurts them too. It's some things that can be put into effect that can make sure that they win. But we gotta stop with the calls, guys. It's like it's just getting blamed at this point. It's not even a call. He puts his hand up and it's a foul. I don't get it. I don't. I love Shea. Shea can play. He's a great player, but it's certain things you just can't do on a basketball court that are fighting words, man. Like you can't
Yeah.
push off me and like literally push me down on the ground. Like that's not how we play basketball.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. But I will say this: I did see a guy called the Mega Casuals who created like a whole short between like them and the Spurs, and it was pretty funny because it was like them going at each other's neck. It is pretty funny. I do love that though because I do think the Spurs and the OKC Thunder can become like a legit rivalry between these two, and I think
And that's
Victor
where
is going to be amazing for them going forward. I think
yeah,
if I'll say this, like you, if the Spurs didn't let up on Friday, I think they would have won. I don't
yeah,
think they let up this time. I think they go 2-2, and I think
yeah.
this game, this series has potential to go 7, but I'll say it goes 6, and I'll give it to the Spurs. For me, even though I wouldn't mind if OKC won it again, I like both these teams. So, but I would give
I
it to the
like
Spurs.
I have the Spurs winning. I've been wanting to see this matchup once the season ended because of how these teams played in the regular season against each other. I think that the Spurs can win.
Yeah,
I think the Spurs can win. Now, if the Spurs win, because I think this all goes to what happens next. I
Yeah.
think they do go to 7 games. I think they do go to 7. I think the Spurs win tonight, and I think either the Spurs win the next game or the Spurs win game 6. And then that forces the game 7 in OKC.
Hmm.
But it's going to be worth the watch.
Yeah.
It's going to be worth the watch. I have the Spurs and the Knicks for the finals.
Okay.
I have the Spurs and Knicks for the finals. Get
Now,
ready,
who you
guys.
think? Now, yeah, but
That's
to say
it.
because
Get
because
ready
I'm not
for
gonna
this.
lie, that could be great. Who you got winning in this finals, huh?
Y'all ain't ready for this.
I already know what it is.
I'm not. I got the Nova Knicks, man. I got the Nova Knicks.
Oh
I
my
got the
god.
Knicks beating the Spurs. No, but listen, here's I
No,
know
no,
y'all
I
are
know what I'm
so
talking about.
ready.
I'm talking about. I know what you're talking about. Like I wouldn't disagree. I'm talking about. Imagine the Knicks fans, especially Stephen A. Smith. They're gonna be
Oh man, I,
insufferable.
they won't be quiet for the next 5 years. They won't be quiet for the next 5 years. Oh
Oh my
man, it's gonna be
god.
bad.
Yeah,
It's gonna be so
that's the only thing. I would really hope that that'd be the only reason. I'd be like, you know what, it'd be worth it just to see New York actually have some good sports for the first time in a while. But it's
You
like
know,
at the same time, it's
and
like
Stephen A. won't be quiet. He just
he
won't.
won't.
Oh, it's
But
gonna be so
imagine,
bad.
but I'm like, if the Knicks win a freaking finals, the Cowboys at
Yeah,
some point gonna win the Super Bowl, and imagine how that's gonna turn.
it's just gonna be terrible. It's gonna be
The fan bases, both fan bases, will be absolutely
Oh
insufferable.
yeah, they're so toxic. It's so bad. It's so bad. I only say that because I think New York comes in this thing with an
Healthy,
experience level a little bit higher than the Spurs.
yeah,
And that's where I think that the Knicks are going to make a lot of moves. First, for both of these franchises, it's going to be incredible just to see them in the finals. From the Spurs, we haven't seen them in the finals since 2017, especially in the
yep,
Western Conference. So we haven't seen them in this movie before. And the last time they were in the finals, they won a championship. Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, Kawhi Leonard,
yeah,
incredible team. From the Knicks, they haven't seen the finals in almost 24 years.
almost 25.
So almost 25. So it's for the Knicks, they love this. They are so excited and happy for what this team is doing, for what they're accomplishing. And it's beautiful to watch from both of these teams. Now, either way this goes, if you get OKC, the Knicks are going to give you the fight of your life. They're going to fight. They are not going to lay down easily.
Yeah.
But I think if you wanted a balanced pound for pound, you want the Spurs.
Oh
The
yeah.
Spurs and the Knicks are gonna be it's gonna be a battle, and it's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be beautiful to watch.
Yeah. Do you think it go 7 or do you think it go 6?
Oh, 6.
6. All right.
I think you go
So
6.
you have if it's the Spurs and the Knicks, it goes 6 and the Knicks win.
Yeah,
I agree with you on that one. But I do
I.
think the Spurs will give them a game. I think it'll be a game between both these teams.
Hmm.
I kind of itching thinking it could be a game 7 though. It could though. Like you
It
don't
could.
know. It
It
could
could
because
be.
these are two really good teams. It's just that the Knicks have more experience, like you said, than the Spurs. But the Spurs are not a team that's gonna lie down. So when you
No,
think
they're
about
not.
it, it's pretty much like
And
it's gonna be the fight of your life.
and I only say that. And first and foremost, I say this too. I don't take Victor out of this equation because Victor, this isn't like, oh yeah, Victor was playing with a bunch of college kids before he got to the NBA.
Right.
Victor was playing with ex NBA players, playing against ex NBA players, playing against ex G League players, playing against guys that have been in the NBA that know the game. He wasn't just playing against 19, 18. He was playing against 30, 40, 20, like guys that have been in this league and that know how to move. And Victor has brought that skill level and skill set to the NBA right now. And he's still learning. He is still learning. So I leave nothing out when it comes to Victor Wembanyama. I do not count that guy out. I think that he is still learning. I think Game 3 gave him the idea and gave him that drive that he can win this game. and hopefully they can finish out this series soon. You don't want to give OKC any more light.
You don't. You really don't. Like,
You
so
don't.
yeah, no, I think we're in agreement. All right, guys. I know for a fact the broadcast is pretty much hit over an hour and 24, which I don't feel like it's been that long. I'm
It
kind of
doesn't.
surprised it's that long. I really don't feel like it. But we're gonna end the show off. Hey, do you have any final words you have to say, James? Any final takes?
If you a Knicks fan, please do not get arrested on Monday when they win. Guys, be cool. All right. I know y'all want to go to Times Square and live it up. Just be cool. Calm it down, you know. Your mayor ain't going for that. I think I don't think I have any takes, man. I don't think I have any takes. I don't got any controversial takes right now. Cavs just get LeBron, man. It's time for y'all to strive for greatness. It's time.
And that man is in sports. I don't know if it's gonna be the smart thing, but we'll see.
Hey, Akron, Ohio.
You want a son too? Why you at it? Because you know he's gonna want y'all to bring his son.
Why do everybody keep saying that? Guys,
You don't, because you know
this
it's
is
true.
not a
You know
package
it's true.
deal. Bronny
You
James is
know
not
it's true.
moving with LeBron, guys. This is not a package deal. All right,
Oh no,
he is
I
going
know.
to
No, you're saying this, but here's the reality. You know for a fact LeBron is gonna want to play this to end his career. Like it's gonna happen whether we wanted to or not.
It's crazy. Why
It's
does not? You are the third person to tell me that wherever LeBron goes, Bronny's going to be right behind. This
Because
is
that's
not a
what he
package
wants.
deal.
I'm not trying to say like, do I want it to happen for the Cavs? No, but will it happen? More likely than not, it will.
They just release Bronny on site. He signs with the Cavs. I'm like, yo, what's going on? What's happening here? All
Yeah,
right.
I think Bronny's contract. Like, here's what I'm gonna say. I think LeBron leaves when Bronny's contract is up, and then after that, he's coming
Crazy,
to the Cavs.
right?
So I'm
Hey
be
Bronny,
honest.
hey Bronny, fight for your own, man. You don't need your dad's money.
No,
don't
like he needs his dad's
listen
money.
to
He
them.
just wants to play with him. That's all it is. He wants to
Don't
be the
you
first
don't got
father
it. You
son
don't got
duo.
it.
Like, bro,
You ain't
that's
got to
all.
go to Cleveland and sit on that bench, man. You can make a name for yourself on the Lakers. Go
If they even
play
want
with
him.
Luka, man.
If they even want him. But we'll see.
They don't
Thank you
nah.
guys.
If you
Yeah.
want LeBron, Bronny's the package. And Bryce. I want Bryce too.
Oh,
Hasn't
as
played
soon
a
as Bryce is available, he gonna try. You know it.
yeah.
You know
Haven't
it.
played a lick of basketball. Nah, Bronny. Nah, Bryce, we got you. Come to Cleveland. Play with your
Yeah,
dad.
so yeah, I mean, it's gonna be bad. So for all you guys again, thank you for tuning in. If you guys haven't, like, share, subscribe, put some in the comments how you guys feel about this. Who you think will win the semifinals between the OKC Thunder and the Spurs? Who do you think will be in the NBA Finals? And how long do you think the finals will go? How many games? And who will win? If you guys also haven't, you see my little down here. That show where you guys can follow me on Facebook, X, and YouTube. If you guys want to be able to subscribe, you are unable to find the channel, that's all you have to do is just type in what's in the YouTube box. James, let them know where they can find you.
Please, guys, on Instagram, I am JF Gross 007. You guys can follow me anytime. Definitely. Facebook is coming soon. You can check out the Facebook when I get that up. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to us. Next week is gonna be a wilder one.
Oh yeah, it is. Trust me, we're gonna have a lot of stuff talked about on that one, as well as pretty much recapping the NBA Finals if by Game 6 it's finished and Game 7 is finished. We'll be recapping the NBA Finals at that point. We will also be talking about, like I said, how we did the early breakdown of Ohio State and Texas. We'll be doing an early breakdown of Oklahoma, or Michigan and Oklahoma, scum in Oklahoma, as I call it. And we will also be doing pretty much the 16-team playoff and why we think that might be better for college football if the playoffs expands again. And if there's any other news that pops up, we'll pretty much have that on there too. But as far as I'm concerned, those will be the three things that'll be on there, or four, better yet. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys. Peace out and have a great day.